I'm Jason Goliath.
And I'm Nicholas Goliath.
And this is a new podcast called The Happiness Economy, where we try and unpack, figure out, investigate, interrogate, I think holistically understand what is happiness even.
What is it to you? What is it to me? Is it different? Is it the same? What do you do to chase your happiness? Just chase it. We want to chat to people who we believe have found their happiness or are on the way to finding their happiness and find out what it is that makes them happy.
So, if you're happy, we're happy. The Happiness Economy with Nicholas and Jason Goliath. Tell her what you must. Is Nicole Bessick the loudest person in the country?
Nicole Bessick is not the loudest person.
Have you not met Seven Gessie? Yeah.
That's very true. She is the female version.
No,
of
you know
Seven
you're the
Gessie.
loudest.
Yeah.
You're the loudest person in the country when you know the second loudest off the top of your head. Quick.
Yeah.
You just
No, 'cause
fired
you're in
immediately.
competition all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Yeah, the female version of Sev.
So
we need to
if
start this intro
Savannah
again. I'm not
was-
letting it. I'm not letting this be
Savannah
my
was the real
thing.
person.
I'm not letting this be my intro.
No, but how do
do
we
you want
even
your intro
introduce
to
you?
go?
So how do we even introduce you? Ladies and
'cause
gentlemen,
normally we
please
let people
welcome the
introduce
loudest actress slash professional, unprofessional
MMA
boxer
fighter.
slash
are you,
MMA
MMA?
smiler. Also a person that has 74 teeth. Because if you've ever seen a smile with so many teeth in your life, Colgate's number one supporter, Nicole Big Mouth Bessick.
Is this a comedy show? Am I getting roasted here? Is this the
is not how
unofficial
it's supposed
roast
to
that I
be.
didn't know about?
You are not being roasted. What we are doing is trying to give people who have not experienced you the quick, fast version of just how immense you are. Because you are a force, you're an energy, you're a light, you are all of these things and more.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Ladies and gents, welcome Nicole Bessick, actor, boxer, good friend of Goliath and many other things. She's
Yes.
amazing, she's wonderful. And if you haven't heard about her before, what have you even been doing in your life?
So
That better.
you give us
I don't know.
the give us the highlights. I mean, you've been acting for how long?
14 years.
14 years. Right now, we can see you on just about every streaming platform.
Yeah.
Because Prime left. I know you were probably shooting something
Yo,
for Prime.
guys.
And then
I wasn't happy about
then they
that.
left. But
Not prime time anymore.
you are on just about everything. It's one of those things where I feel like, okay, thanks guys, that's it. Glad you watched. Because where do we even start? Let's start at the bottom.
Okay.
I've become acutely sensitive to the fact that if I'm following somebody and that person is extraordinarily happy all the time in terms of the perception on social media, that generally that person has been through some life. Somebody who is very good at managing people's perception of them generally has been through life. So then let's start there. Tell us about your life.
Goodness, where do we begin?
At the beginning. Where are you from?
I am from a small town in Cape Town called Kensington. So humble beginnings. What a lot of people might not know about me is that I started in sport when I was 3. Figure skating, believe it or not.
In Kensington.
Yeah, because it was near Grand West. Okay?
How do you say Grand
And
West?
was
Like
there
we
an
must
ice
know what
rink
must
at
happen.
Grand West?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
there's
the only
ice.
one. It's the only
Okay.
one in
Oh,
the
nice.
In
city.
the whole of Cape Town?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay.
Grand West. So started at 3. The story goes, I got on ice and I just wouldn't get off. Went pro by the time I was 6 or 7, representing my country. There was talk about Junior Olympics
Skated
at
for
11.
South Africa at
Ye-
6.
Yes.
Okay.
There was talk about Junior Olympics at 11, 12. But I grew up from exceptionally humble beginnings, so that was never a conversation financially. And I sat my parents down, imagine that, an 11-year-old sitting you down, and going, well, as much as I'm good at the sport, it's the performance that I really love.
Yeah.
And then they went, okay, so are you saying acting? I'm saying acting.
This is at 11.
Yes.
Okay.
So they enrolled me in a theatre school called the Waterfront Theatre School. That's over and above going to normal school.
Okay.
So 3-4 days a week after school, you're going to perform and you're going to learn how to hone your craft. One rule, your grades don't slip.
Okay, so you can do that, but we don't want to
Grades
see.
don't slip. You can't stop any of your sports. You can't stop any of your instruments that you play. This will be onboarded as an additional thing. And if that makes your grade slip, everything is out. That was always the thing with me and extracurriculars.
Okay.
If your grade slip, it's gone.
So what were the other extracurriculars? What are the musical instruments?
I
'Cause
played
now
2 instruments,
Okay.
piano and guitar.
Okay.
Started when I was like 6, 7.
Nice.
Can I ask, from very humble beginnings?
Yeah.
No, he just felt shit about himself. You know, you think about your own life and you think, I've done nothing. This person played for South Africa and 2 instruments before the age of 7.
No. So my thing is just like from very, you say very humble beginnings, but then very humble beginnings don't often involve figure skating, guitar, piano. That's like what we hear about when you live on an estate and you have a horse in the paddocks, and then from the horse riding, then you go to the figure skating, and from the figure skating, then you go. So how does humble Nicole from Kensington make all of this happen? How do your parents make all of this
Well,
happen?
Nicole didn't do anything. It was Jackie and Michael, right? My parents. Shout out to
Right,
them.
yeah.
I think they were so hell-bent on doing better that they'd had, so they wanted to give that to their kid. You know what I mean? And it wasn't an easy thing to have a kid go be coached by professional figure skating coaches from Russia, from the USA. It's not a cheap thing.
No.
You know, so conversations were made internally that I'm not privy to. Thank God I'm not, because I might have gone, if I'm putting my parents through this, I might not do it.
Yeah.
You know, there was never a conversation. It was never, it's if you can dream it, we'll find a way. And if you can commit to it, we'll find a way.
What do your parents do?
They work in IT services for the government. That's what they were doing when I was that age. So at 11, we're having this discussion, and I tell them I want to be an artist.
Yeah.
They went, okay, cool, go. You know the rule. And by the age of 14, 15, I booked my first international film that went to the Cannes, Berlin, and Los Angeles film festivals. That was called Cold Harbor. Thomas Gumede, Tony Goroge, those were all in the Ilse Klink.
Legends.
Dion Lotz, yeah. So I had my first taste of it pretty young. And then it comes to 18 and it's like, okay, the natural step now is to go perform. My parents went, whoa, relax, sit down. You got full scholarships. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. What do you want to study? Medicine, law, choose. I went, eeny, meeny, miny, law, fine. In an attempt to bring it back to the industry.
Yeah.
Because I was never leaving.
Yeah.
But if I had to take an hiatus, imagine
Yeah.
taking a hiatus at 18, right? Took a hiatus, went to law school. And upon graduating, I did my dissertation eventually in intellectual property, entertainment law, copyright law. So I always was going to bring it home. Handed them the piece of paper and I said, cheers, I'm going to Joburg. They said, what? We don't know anybody there. What do you mean you're going to Joburg? And I said, I'll figure it out. Had some savings that I'd been saving from doing like the TV commercials and all the small jobs as you're in university. Got on the plane, Property 24. What apartments are here around? Found the first thing. And that was the beginning of a 7-year stay in Joburg. That's why.
So let's just take a step back. Let's take
Okay.
this is a lot because
Very,
now you
very
threw
easy.
a LLP in the mix from
Yeah,
nowhere,
out of nowhere.
just in there. So generally, I think a lot of us come from the type of parents, thank God, who strive to give us the things that they didn't have.
Sure.
Strive to give us, and even if the things was just the opportunities that they didn't have. I do find, because I'm at that age now of, I should be a parent, but I'm not. But I do find that generally when you have a parent that is so hell-bent on giving you the life they didn't have, they almost have a picture of what it is that you're supposed to be doing. So they want you, for example, so when you say at 11 you were able to have this conversation and your parents were able to provide you with compromise there, generally that conversation, and you can agree or disagree, but generally that conversation goes, no, you can do all of this stuff when you've finished varsity. When you've gotten your degree, then you can go and look at all of these other things that you want to do. There's not normally even the negotiation of you can do it as long as your grades don't suffer.
I don't think they had much of a choice, man. I was just a different kind of child.
So you were just...
And I think it's because it was never just.
Yeah.
It was never, I just want to just try this one thing, or
Yes.
tomorrow I'm
You were
changing
all
my
in.
mind, or I was very changing a new hobby each week. It was always very direct. It was always the same. I was always consistent. I was never late for a rehearsal, never late for a practice. Everything was always on time. And they went, man, I guess we got a letter.
That though is a mentality that's instilled by those around you, by your parents, do you have siblings?
One younger brother, yes.
Okay. So then by your parents, by your society at the time, because as kids, I have 2 kids, and if you allow them, they do whatever they want to do. Like they switch and they change. So who was the influence that made you so aware of the importance of sticking to a thing?
Gosh, all of them. I mean, show me one lazy brown person. I dare you. Show me.
We can show you pages of lazy.
No. Okay, but I mean it. Like, show me one lazy, successful brown person.
Yeah, that's
That's what I'm trying to say.
But when you get to
But that's a proper formula. That's a formula. Opportunity plus work equals success. Full stop. I don't care what anybody says. Opportunity plus hard work equals success. That is it.
Nicole, I'll back you. I'll back you, and I say that in all the years that I've known you and experienced you and worked around you, that's what I get. You're the type of person that shows up. You're not only showing up, but you show up prepared and ready to give everything. You are one of the most bankable artists that is in the scene at the moment. Not only because you're talented, but because we know that you're going to show up with the right energy, the right chutzpah to dollar the things.
Thank you.
Are you happy? So you present as, and I think I started with this. Anybody who presents as consistently overly happy, to me presents as somebody who has a very keen understanding of how harsh the world actually is. Are you happy?
I'm satisfied.
What does that mean?
I think I'm satisfied with what I can see around me. But happy,
So
happy's relative.
No, we know it's a subjective.
Happy's a sliding scale. I mean,
so what I'm saying is, we all admit, there's no such thing as just being happy forever and ever.
No.
It's as relative as you can't. People will say you can't appreciate warm if you don't embrace and understand cold. So you must have both. You can't appreciate joy if your experiences don't have the others. So if you haven't experienced sadness, if you haven't experienced anger, if you haven't experienced loss or pain, it's hard for you to appreciate happiness. But when I look at anything you post above the line, I see the biggest smile, happy days, happy faces. So we have to also admit that we're in the space of, yes, we agree that we only feel happiness a certain amount of time, but we're also under pressure to only promote happiness.
I don't only promote happiness.
So
Jason.
talk to me.
So let's go back to the story, right?
Yes.
Let's go back to what's made Nicole Bessick, and maybe that will help
100%.
understand the question.
That's exactly
So-
what we're trying to do.
And this for me is for the little brown girl that's watching.
Okay,
The little brown girl who's looking up to you, who is inspired by you, but can't relate to just how much work you've put in.
Sure.
We can understand,
Sure.
as a brown girl in this industry, how you've had to work harder than everybody around you your entire life to get there. But how do we transfer the insights of not only try and live a positive, happy life, but also life is going to be hard.
Sure. So Nicole, at 22, lands in Joburg and takes on the acting world. At one stage, all my roles were skitskop and dona. So I took on the boxing. That's where the boxing comes from.
Yeah.
In response to doing my own stunts, I got really good at it, and then I started competing.
Okay.
And I've been undefeated ever since. I won my first championship in 2017, and I haven't been beaten since. And that's where all the guns, the cars, the planes, that kind of stuff, because I really enjoy that, right? And then over time, that sort of became part of the profile. Fine. When I turned 26, so that was 2-3 years ago, 26, I looked to my left and my right, and I saw an issue in South Africa that I wasn't too happy with. And in response to that, I launched my own gender-based violence non-profit organization called the Fight for Good Foundation. And I developed a 12-week program that takes women from victim to warrior in just 12 weeks. So essentially what we do on one hand is over the 12 weeks, we re-empower the victims, so through self-defense workshops, that kind of stuff. So what did I do there? I just got all the people who've trained me and coached me for like all these years, and I employed them to do that for these ladies. On the other hand, we prosecute the abusers over those 12 weeks, and we seek justice for the victims. And who do I use there? All the people I went to law school with. So everything sort of come full circle.
Yeah.
But I would have never... I would have never done all of that. Nobody is strong because they have to be. They're strong in response to something, right?
Yeah.
That's the element. So when people look at people achieving things, it's because they've experienced great loss. And they've experienced things in life that have made them want to tackle that head on.
Yes. To not be the
Why am I
victim
emotional
anymore.
all of a sudden?
Thank you.
Oh my God.
No, that's what we...
So, yeah, and then the big thing that everyone was talking about for a long time was the rape case. For those who may not be familiar, 2 YouTubers got online and did like this cute little fun game online and explained all the ways they would take advantage of women. I don't know what rock they were living under. Because if you know me, you know I'm not the person to come for. And they explained, they played Smash, Marry, Kill. And they said, we'd kill Nicole Bessick, but not before they tell you the ways in which they take advantage of you. And I was like, Grand Sharp, okay. I guess I can't fight for the rest of the world if behind closed doors I cower.
Yeah.
So it's time to fight for myself for a change. And I took them to court and we won. And we went to mediation rather, too scared, and we won. You know what I mean? And in that moment, I realized just the feedback from that. I didn't do it for the feedback, but the feedback that came from that was like, because you did that, I left my man who's been hitting me for 10 years. Because you did that, I started boxing just on the sideline.
I took my strength
from you.
Oof.
So, if you ask me, am I happy?
Yeah.
Not every day, but am I satisfied? Hell yes.
Yeah. So I think the happy thing is more like a zoom out. If you look at your year, like would you say is it more happy? You know,
Yeah,
more,
sure.
more satisfied.
Yeah, cool. It's happy.
No. And I hear what you're saying, and I just wanted to give you more perspective in terms of it's not like are you happy?
Yeah.
But I love what you said now, and I have to ask: does that make you happy to know that? And I don't know, maybe happy is the wrong term, but to know that you are the reason there are women in the world who are standing up for themselves. Does that bring you a level of joy?
Brings me a lot of pride.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you offended by cowards?
Am I offended by cowards?
I say that because you present as one of the bravest people I've ever met.
Am I offended by cowards? No.
So not offended, but like I'm often quite annoyed by cowardism. Maybe not annoyed by
I think your question
cowards.
is, do weak men annoy me? The answer is yes. I mean,
gents,
I mean-
no, because a lot of people, and I'll be fair with you.
Sure.
We go a long way, my sister. There's no pretending. I think that a lot of people will be forgiven for thinking that you pretend to be as confident as you are, as sure-footed as you are, as brave as you are, and because you're overwhelmingly all of those things. Then to spend enough time with you, you kind of realize, no, this is a brave person.
Yeah.
This is a person whose fear yardstick is very different to everybody, to everybody else's. So you just said it very clearly. You are offended by, or maybe offended is the wrong word, but weak men are
do you know
not.
what it is? I think because it's so natural.
Yeah.
And it's so innate for me to achieve at high levels, to push at high levels, to endure pressure at high levels. And it's something I'm working through. For me, I foolishly believe that because it's so natural for me, it should be natural for everybody else. I think that's probably where I'd agree
which
with
is
you.
also not fair.
It's not fair, and
Yeah,
sometimes I'm
100%,
working on that. You know what I mean? And I'm constantly working on it every day. And it's not just work. It's like in love relationships, in friendships, in all of those things, to understand that different people see the world in different ways. And happiness is a measuring stick that is not the same for all of us as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Completely subjective. I think it's the most important thing is understanding that happiness is not the same for everybody. Because I think too often we assume that the same things are going to make everybody happy. Once your bank account is sorted, once you're a little bit famous, you should be happy. That's why everyone has this perception that...
So I've got a question. I've got a question for the both of you.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So, because I have like these chats with my girlfriends all the time. If there was one thing that throws you completely off your center, what is it? One thing that would shake you. Like, is it your
Tell us
girlfriend
your
breaks
answer
up with
first.
you or your wife breaks up with you, would you be rocked off your kilter? If you lost your job, would you be rocked off your kilter? If you lost what would rock you off your kilter? For me, rocking me off my kilter, you will not recognize me
Yeah.
tomorrow. Take away my ability to achieve or to provide. Take it away from me. Take the money away, or take the provision away. You will rock me. If I feel like I'm not able to sustain, because for me, my life is very much, it's me against the world. So
Yeah.
if you take that away from me, you've taken my happiness away. If I don't have any more ability to go out there and earn, or if I'm not booking, or if that's when I start to shake. We offer another layer to the conversation in that we're entertainers, we're artists. So sometimes asking for help is not that simple. It's not that
Yeah.
clear cut, if you know what I mean.
100%.
Because our jobs fall from the sky, literally.
Yes.
Every job you get has literally
Yeah.
fallen from the
Manna.
sky. Literally manna
Yeah.
from heaven.
Aye.
So it's very tricky, and it can be tricky to navigate that. So another layer for me that makes it very tricky, because just understanding it, understanding the game, and I think through my work with SAGA, the South African Guild of Actors, I've been assisting on their exco with the royalties debate and that kind of stuff and everything. Why are you shaking your head at me?
No, I'm not shaking my head at you. I'm shaking my head and smiling at the same time because you're involved in so many things. And you know, I was speaking to somebody in the week and saying, I love speaking to anybody who's passionate. I don't care what your thing is. You can be passionate about how this water bottle was made. But if I see enough passion in somebody when they're speaking about their thing, it brings me a level of joy that I experience now. And that's how I was like, I see it. I see the excitement, the passion in your voice. I hear it. And it's beautiful, especially knowing that you've gone through so much and you put in so much effort. It's a beautiful thing. So yes, it makes me very happy, and so I wasn't shaking my head. I was just going, like it was.
Some days I feel a lot older than I am, because if I do the math, I'm like, there's no reason I could be this age. How? But the maths.
I feel a lot younger than I am. It's weird. Also,
Yeah, I'm only 29.
I'm almost 40.
I hate you. No, sincerely.
I'm only
10 years.
29.
A whole 10 years. And also, that's another thing. At 29, if I think about where I was at 29. My mind was nowhere near as focused. Your mind was focused at 11. You sat your parents down.
But there's still some days that I feel so unachieved, guys. Really, truly.
But
those are the days where I'm the most unhappy, actually.
Yeah.
But that's a pressure that you're putting on yourself. Because,
No, it's not
yes,
a pressure that I'm putting on myself. This is
course
the
it is.
tempo. This is the tempo that I enjoy. And if I want to fulfill that tempo, I'm
Who
gonna.
enjoys?
I do.
Right. So who's putting that pressure on you?
It's not pressure. It's liquor. It's
That's what I said.
You
But
can't
you're
say the
doing it to
days you don't
yourself.
enjoy it's liquor.
No. I mean,
No, you specifically saying the pressure on the days you don't enjoy is self-inflicted.
it's part of the parcel.
It
It's
is
part of the package.
puzzle, and you
It's part of the
understand that, and
package.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's you. It's you putting in the effort, and that's so. Like Jason and I just come off of doing our run of the Happiness Economy comedy tour, and we did 5 nights of comedy, and the one night that we believe was the worst night of the run. Only him and I know was the worst night.
Why was it the worst night?
Oh, it just wasn't as good as the other nights. But the point he's making is the audience didn't know.
Yes.
Okay.
So the audience and even comedians that were in the audience that night were shocked that we felt a little bit disappointed.
I see.
And that just means that the standard we create for ourselves is impossibly high to maintain consistently.
That's beautiful. I get it. I get it.
allow
I
the
get it. I get it.
compliment
I
to
get it.
happen. It is beautiful
sorry.
when you let it happen. Yes.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's beautiful. I do think it's, and I get it. I get how people like us
Yeah.
can be polarizing, or from the outside, perhaps now, pardon my French, it looks like bullshit. But back to your point, nobody is strong because they want to be.
Yeah.
Strength is a trauma response.
Yeah.
And I think that the sooner people internalize that into their thinking, the sooner we can all practice more grace with one another. All of it. Because there are days where I get I get envious of people who see the world through rose-tinted glasses and who are just, like liquor, there are no issues in the world. Everyone is peace. You
Yeah.
have peace all over. I can't just understand. Imagine looking at the world like that.
It's part of our philosophy to do our best to look at the world like that more.
Yeah.
So
of course.
I think that you're envious of those people because they don't seem to be affected by the same things that affect you.
So deeply, yes.
100%.
Yes.
And it's like, so as part of the show, we came up with so far in our research, the 3 words that we believe are critical to anybody's ability to experience happiness. And that is gratitude,
Yes.
acceptance,
Yes.
and the last one is the one you just mentioned, perspective.
Perspective.
And perspective exactly means that lens. So we were very curious about people who, you see 2 people experiencing the same thing, they come from the same place, yet one of them seems almost oblivious, and the other one is
deeply affected.
Deeply affected and generally frustrated by something that they can't change, even if they wanted to. So when we look at those scenarios, we go, and Nick's words are, that he read was, it's 5% what happens and 95% how you manage how you react. On that note, being somebody who's watched you as a fan in the industry and watched your career over the last couple of years, I definitely feel, my friend, that of late, and when I say of late, I'm talking about in the last 24 months, it feels like you've accessed a new level of peace. So you speak about that envy thing, which is, I think, something that hits a lot of artists. Because it's a dog show, and because, as you said, all of our gigs are considered
From
these
the
huge
heavens.
ultimate blessings, it's very easy to see your friend achieve something that you perhaps want and then feel a type of way about it and not honestly
Celebrate the win.
celebrate that win and allow envy to become a norm. Because I don't think anybody that's not in this gig environment understands that type of pressure. However, I, from an observational point of view, feel like you found a bit of a peace in the last, that there's been a difference. I don't know if it's just you growing up. I don't know if it's you growing into yourself, but there's definitely been a textural difference to Nicole Bessick. Is that something that you're conscious of? Is it something I'm making up myself?
No, I think I think you're on the money there, but I think it's a couple of things. I think people forget that I've been doing this a very long time, and I'm only now hitting the tail end of my 20s. So you are seeing a woman transition from into being a young woman into a woman. So you're seeing a little bit of that. You're also seeing that the portfolio of work is expanding to include those streamers and the broadcasters that I've not worked with before. But also, more often than not, and park the growing up into a woman, park the entertainment stuff, you're seeing an individual who's just walked through more life. And that's made me the best artist possible, because I always tell younger actors that I'll mentor, that I'll come to do a masterclass. I always tell them, as an actor, your sensibility, your toolkit will change.
Yes.
Because your understanding of humanity changes.
100%. You'll be a sum of your experiences.
Exactly. And I think that's probably the change that people have seen in the next 2 years. I'm still going to be the cutthroat, foul-mouthed person that I want to be when tried. But I think, I am a lot more peaceful, only because I'm settled in that things will happen as they're meant to, because I do follow life's formula. Opportunity, consistent hard work, success. So you can stand back and you can hang back when your friends are getting those things, or when, things aren't working in your favor. Relax, just stay sharp.
Breathe.
All you need to do is wait for the opportunity, but you have to stay sharp here. You can't now be seeing everybody get booked on this new thing for Netflix or this new thing for Amazon, and now you want to now party all the time and not go to your class. You need to stay in the gym. You need to stay practicing your accents. You need to stay practicing your skill sets, because that opportunity will come. Die wil draai.
Yeah.
And when it comes, you need to gooi. And that's
Say that last part again, because I think I'm made most mad. If you ask me, one thing that makes me the most mad out of people is people who cry about not getting the ball, and then when they do get the ball,
they fumble the ball.
They don't score goals. They don't score goals.
Yes.
I'm just like, you can't be the one crying for the ball, and then when the ball comes to you, now you're like a dog chasing a car. You don't know what to do.
No. Guys, entertainment is not a spectator sport. It really isn't. We've all been to the games. We've all been to the cage. We've all been to the soccer.
100%.
The people the loudest are the guys standing on the side who haven't seen the gym since 94, okay? Their stomachs are hanging by their knees and they're shouting at the players. You should have done that if I had the ball. Sir, if you had the ball, you would have caught a heart attack.
100%.
That's what you would have done.
100%.
Okay? Let's start there,
100%.
okay? It's the same thing. Entertainment is not a spectator sport. Achievement is not a spectator sport.
No.
You've got to put your head down.
Got to
you know what I mean? If you're not in the fight, you can't chat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If you're not in the fight, you can't chat.
Oh.
Close your mouth.
Too loud.
If you're in the fight and you didn't train, only
Take-
one
take-
thing.
No,
can
but
happen.
take your hiding.
Yeah.
You can sit and take your hiding.
Fight your butt.
Take your beat.
But that's it. You see what I mean? I think that's the key to success. And I know for me, I'm hearing as we're speaking that for me, they become synonyms. Success and happiness are synonyms to me intrinsically. I'm not saying that that's
No, I
the
love it.
element, but I'm
love it.
learning that I keep using the word success when the theme is happiness, and it could just be because
So we have part of the discussion that got us to the point that we're at now was that the belief in society is that success equals happiness. When you're successful, you're going to be happy. When you've got the big bank account, the big house, the whatever, you're going to be happy.
But it's also, you'll finish explaining
okay.
it.
Yeah. But what we learned at maths and in school is that equals works both ways. What happens on the one side is equal to what happens on the other
Right.
side. So if success equals happiness, you can turn that
Then
around. and
Happiness will always lead to
equal
success.
To your success. And that's what we find
Yeah.
in comedy is that we started comedy not to be comedians. We started comedy because we love making people laugh. And it makes us happy to be on stage and to tell the jokes and get the feedback from the audience. And it makes us happy to get the opportunities that comedy provides us. We get to be on TV, on radio, and do and travel and, all these
And
different
have podcasts,
experiences
right?
and podcasts. And those things make us very happy. And when people look at us, they go, you guys are very successful. And the money has come as a result. The house has come as a result. The car, so it's, I agree with you when you say that you see success as the happiness thing, because essentially they are the same thing, but it depends on what you're chasing. If you're just chasing the money and the success, it's very difficult to focus on the happiness.
And it's one of those things that both happiness and success are very subjective things. So both of those answers will mean something different to everybody. And I think a lot of people substitute other people's answers into their answers. So you're working for somebody else's version of success. You're working for somebody else's version of happiness. And then the sum became, if you believe that success equals happiness, then obsess about the happiness, because by your definition, the happier you are, the more successful you will be. So that it starts making some of the stuff like money a byproduct of your efforts instead of the purpose or intention of
When
your
I say
effort.
success, I don't just mean money though.
No, 100%.
No, for sure.
So
Yeah,
I'm generalizing now just in terms of the statement.
Because a lot of people also put success and money.
A lot of people
Same
believe that that's the only thing. If I don't have money, I'm not successful.
Fine.
100%. In the observation that I've mentioned over the last 2 years, and again, please just tell me if I'm completely out of my depth here in terms of reading.
No, I'd
and-
love
and
to hear.
people, but I also feel like you unlocked another layer of liking yourself, possibly loving yourself, over the last 2 years.
Where does this come from?
I watch.
What
You
Jay?
are on the social medias, Mas.
No,
and
so-
we bump into each other in the world.
I watch, and because
Wait, now I'm interested. Hang on. Tell me.
So,
So through
I'm
what- yeah.
saying from the conversations that we had online during COVID
Okay.
to now, everything that I've seen has led to you slowly falling more in love with yourself as you are every single day almost. I'm not saying you weren't in love with yourself. I'm just saying you're more in love with yourself now as a
That's the
positive
perception.
thing.
Yeah.
As a positive thing, not as a because we also grow up in those societies that say liking yourself is a negative thing, and
You know what it
accepting
is?
yourself as
I
you
would
are.
agree with that, but it's more along the lines of ek staan my plek vol over the last 2 years.
She stands a place full.
So am I completely right or completely wrong?
No, I
because
think
the
there's a
audience
sweet
is
spot.
confused now.
I think there's a sweet spot there. I think
Yeah.
it's not so much as like blowing hot air up your ass over the last
No.
years.
No,
I just
No,
think
no,
I've
no.
come into a place, and it's through ability. It's through having, established and achieved the things that I've wanted to, that now I'm able to stand with authority when I walk onto set, stand with authority when I meet, which I did when I meet ministers and have debates about the statistics of gender-based violence. Ek kan my plek vol staan because I've done the hours, I've worked really, really hard in it, and I can, with all the happiness in the world, stand there, have those debates, stand onto set, international sets, and really hold my own and enjoy it. Get into the ring and gooi and enjoy it. I think that's just been the sort of metamorphosis. But I mean, I'm not the only one. I think when a woman does sort of kiss her 20s goodbye, Lord.
No, you're going to be
We are 40s. Shut up. We have no sympathy
Lord, may I
for your
never-
young self.
Just
There's
one thing at a
zero-
time, one thing
zero
at a
sympathy.
time, one thing at a time,
So
one thing at a time.
I think there's also something to finding the things, because once again I'm looking at you speak about how you speak to these people and the different things you've mentioned, and there's joy there. And I think there's something about understanding
what it is that makes you happy. Like, you speak as someone who understands themselves intimately. You understand that the boxing, you've got to gooi, you must tell other things. You
Must.
understand that when you're on
Yeah.
set. And it looks like someone who understands themselves. And is it something that you think about or have thought about, or did it just kind of happen with age now that you're almost 30?
I think I got it. I think I know exactly what happened to you. I think you realized, because I think you're a very competitive person,
Me, never.
and I think that you finally realized that as long as you try your best, even losing is winning, because losing is learning. So if you tried your best, you showed up and you failed, as long as you tried your best, there will be lessons there.
I wouldn't know. I've never lost.
You see, that's
Since
how 29-year-old children speak. Did you hear? Did you hear? That's how, when you ask 40-year-olds, we lose on their daily. On their daily. The only thing I don't lose is weight. That is the only thing.
No, I think that's fair, but I think just think back to an 11-year-old telling her parents what she's going to do with the rest of her life. I think it's always been in me as well.
No, so then, okay, be honest.
I'm a,
19-year-old
Yes.
and 29-year-old, what are the differences?
Shucks. 29-year-old me is a lot more vase and jaded and hurt.
Been punched in the face by life a lot, like all of us.
Yes, as anyone. 19-year-old me is a bit more naive, guarded, naive. Shucks, but if I could tell her anything, if I could go back 10 years today and I looked at everything that she was doing, I would have told her, do more. Do more.
Give me
Push
details there. Push
harder.
what? More what?
There's just certain things that there's certain things that I really wish I did now at 29 that I should have done when I was at 19. I genuinely, and you're going to like roll your eyes and make the 40-29 joke again, but there's times where I go like, fuck, is it all over? Is it all over? Is this as good as it gets? Like, if I just took those 3-4 opportunities that I was maybe too tired or too blasé or too busy, if I just did that, what would today look like? Is it not all over?
Ask me how old I was when I started comedy. For
I
the
would
first
say-
time ever in my life.
I'd say 25, 26,
30.
30.
I was a year older than you are now when I did comedy for the first time ever.
Yeah.
That, if anything must tell anybody that age thing is a thing that we fabricate, a prison that we create, an expectation that we set. Your time is your time, and you can dollar whatever one you want to dollar when you are ready. And when I say you are ready, whether your experience of life, your experience of the world, your mood, your mindset, your maturity, so I started comedy at 30, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. My mother fell in love in her 60s. And I think for the first time
There's
in her
hope for
life.
me
Sorry,
still.
Mom.
There's hope for
no,
me
but
still.
what I'm saying is that love that she had it's the most beautiful love I've ever seen. It's
Really?
that name brand
Lovely.
romantic
That
butterflies in
Hollywood-
your
that
stomach.
Hollywood-
Promise you.
I love
And
that.
she had resigned herself to the fact that all of those ships had sailed for her. You understand what I'm saying? So I think we put that pressure on ourselves in terms of when. Like, I can understand why at 29 you feel the way you feel, but you must also then respect that at 43 we look at a 29-year-old with awe of your life is literally just beginning. Like, you finally have just enough adult experience to really give adulting a go.
Yeah, and to be taken seriously sometimes.
and to
you
take
know what I mean?
yourself seriously.
Yeah,
What
there's been so many of my business mentors, like, because I obviously own businesses and
Yeah.
things like that. As an artist, you can't just be an artist.
Obviously, own business. Obviously.
So what I was saying was, some of my business mentors always tell me, don't tell people your age. Nobody knows how old you are.
Yeah.
Your energy says mid-30s. Keep it that way. Because people will start to treat you differently in boardrooms if
True
they look at
story.
you like you're a lighty.
True story.
You know what I mean?
But also, you are the person who said, things happen as and when and timing, and then at the same time have the thought that, I missed out on those opportunities.
I should have.
But understanding that had you taken those opportunities, you wouldn't be where you are now. And where you are now is where you're supposed to be. Because if you weren't supposed to be here, you'd be where you were supposed to be.
Can I tell you what my idea of what my perception of
Tell
hell
us.
is.
Please.
My worst hell. Hell is on the last day of your life, as you lay on your deathbed, the person you could have been walks into the room.
Seven Gessi.
What do you mean, Seven Gessi?
That's a Seven Gessi quote. The brass says
It's
that
not
all
a
the
Seven
time.
Gessi quote. It's a fucking
The
quote
brass,
from the
no.
1960s.
It's no, you high performance individuals all think that thought. We've
Yes.
never thought that thought in our lives.
What do you
and
mean,
Seven
Seven
Gessi,
Gessi?
you and Seven
Daniel.
Gessi are the only two people that have articulated that exactly the way you just
I'm phoning him after this to tell him to stop biting.
Because
my
it's
thoughts.
right. No, because it's the truest thing. He says it honestly exactly the way you've articulated
What?
it. Exactly the way you've articulated it. Not only has he said it to me personally for years, but he's made videos about it where he goes, that is my biggest fear. He's the person that I could have been.
Meets the person that you are.
So years ago, and I think the reason I don't have that same fear is years ago, one of my greatest mentors was David Kibuka, or is David Kibuka. And David said to me, life is simple. Imagine the man you want to be and then be that man. On the surface, it sounds like a very trivial, silly thing. But I promise you, if you imagine the human you want to be, and every day you become as much that human as you can.
Sure.
So you make your decisions, because life is all about choice and consequence. You start making the decisions that way. You start acting and behaving that way. I promise you, it is a mind-blowing experience. So you articulated, we're saying the same thing. You articulated a little bit differently to go, that would be my deepest fear. But what frustrates me, even when Siv says it, is
Whose interview is this?
I am just saying, because you brought up Siv earlier as the loudest
No, that
person
was
in the
that.
country.
That was you.
No, you brought him up as she brought him up as the
Because
loudest
he-
in the country. I didn't say his name.
Oh, yes.
I did not say his
You
name.
know that Siv did the speech at my 21st birthday?
Well, there you go. You see,
been friends since,
you
like,
speak
day
of
one.
full circle moments.
Liewe George.
Speak of full circle.
Shout out, Siv.
Of full circle moments. But either way, it's a fear that I can deeply relate to.
Yeah.
But I often hear that fear spoken from people who've done the same thing yesterday as they did today. So they haven't put in any changes to become. You're not that person. I'm not in any way, shape, or form. You are, I think, a glorious example to anybody that is aspiring. And I want to say you're a glorious example to little brown girls. No, I think you're a glorious example to anybody trying to achieve anything. So I'll give you that. But I still think it rings true. We unfortunately have to wrap, and I wish we could talk to you forever because I find you so fascinatingly interesting. Any final questions before we go into the index?
No. I think just a comment that I feel like you're on the right path. From the Nicole I met at the box 10, 11 years ago, I don't know how long ago that was, to where you are now, I've just seen you grow and become, like Jason says, more of yourself, more powerful, more successful, and an inspiration to men and women, black and white. It doesn't matter. If people can apply your logic of put your head down, do the work, when the opportunity arises, grab it with both hands and take the opportunity, then everybody would be living a lot happier and easier lives. And I love the amount of pressure that you put on yourself, but I hope that you understand that you are putting that pressure to be a better you, and that's a beautiful thing.
It's fantastic to watch.
Yeah, don't let it get you down. Let it motivate you and keep pushing you forward, because people are watching and they want to be like you.
Yeah. And this new, I don't know,
Do you, Pooh?
whatever this light is, may it shine and shine and shine. All right, the Goliath Happiness Index, super simple. 3 categories. You got to rate them 1 to 5. 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. So
There are 5 things. 1 is the highest, 5 is the lowest.
3 categories.
3 categories.
And each of these categories you'll rate from 1 to 5 in terms of where you are in your life. I'm going to ask them to you slowly. I promise you to make sure you're cool.
Cool.
So you're rating it 1 to 5. 1 being super low, terrible. 5 being could not be better.
Okay.
The word is gap, and the word is an acronym for gratitude, acceptance, and perspective, which we believe are some of the fundamental pillars to accessing the happiest version of your life. Not being happy, but living the most positive version of your life. In terms of gratitude and being able to exist in a space of gratitude, experience gratitude from 1 to 5, where are you right now on a daily basis?
4.5.
4.5. Why?
I think it's because, and you might not see this from the outside but looking in and from the inside, I'm quite a spiritual person. And I live my life by the book of the Bible. And I think when you are awake and breathing and able to read the words in that book,
Already.
you have no right to complain.
Already grateful.
You know what I mean? You're
Love
already
that.
grateful. So 4.5, because there's always room for improvement.
Love that. Acceptance, in terms of accepting who you are, where you are, why you are, what you are, and accepting that currently, wherever you are, it is what it is.
4.5.
Again, I have to ask you to back that up. That's a high score.
Could always be better.
Yeah.
Could always be better. But in terms of acceptance, I have a lot of pride with regards to the life that I've been able to build, the career I've been able to build. I accept that it is quite literally the exact fruit of mine and mine alone, the labor of me and me alone. So I accept it and I onboard it. So 4.5.
Nice.
Perspective. Speak about the lens that you're able to look at life through, and Nick's my favorite. Wherever Nick gets these wonderful quotes, but my favorite quotable is "Don't be the cloud, be the silver lining," which I think is a great description for perspective. In terms of perspective and managing your perspective and not making things that are not about you, finding positivity in the darkness.
2.
Unpack that for me. That's the most interesting answer you've given all day.
So, like we said earlier, I wish I had a different perspective or a more rose-tinted look at the world. There's a lot of room for improvement there when it comes to perspective. And when I say perspective, I don't just mean on the, as how I see the world.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I could look at myself a little bit differently.
But that's properly
Perhaps.
included in perspective. Yeah.
Yes.
Practice more grace with myself. Practice more boundaries with myself. Sometimes my perspective can get blurred when considering other things. And not just the work thing. I think perspective,
life things,
I
yeah.
could definitely...
I am so excited for the rest of your life.
Because it's just beginning.
No, because
this life of yours.
I promise you, and I say this as a compliment to anybody in their 20s, but when you get to your 40s, you realize that in your 20s, you're still a child. And when I say that, it just means that you haven't experienced everything yet, and life has still got so many things to offer. Yet, if you have a grasp of yourself during your 20s, it
Sets you in
creates
good
fodder
stead.
for the most beautiful life.
Thank you.
And I have a deep suspicion that you are going to continue to live the most beautiful life. So thank you for being so damn powerful, so damn unapologetic is the one I want to encourage you to stay. So comfortably talented. You don't need to make excuses for how talented you are. You don't need to dim your shine to make people feel comfortable. You just continue. And I've been saying this to people because I don't think people say it to enough people, but I hope you realize how important you are, and that there's a generation of people coming from spaces just like you that look to you as their North Star for that little bit of hope. And you do that for people that are your senior and your junior.
You are going to make me cry.
So just keep shining, keep pushing, and keep dollaring what you must. Well done. Well done in your life. Thank you for making time for us.
Yeah.